Alright guys, so let's get started with creating these components that are going to be reusable across the app. So to do this, the first thing that I'm going to do is under Common, here's where we're going to create all these new components. So let's have a look at the components we will need. On the preview we see services, portfolio, about, and team and contact form. Alright. So let's start with the services here. So in Common, we're going to create a new file called services.js. And then I'm gonna close some of these, the image, home, app, about, and header. All right. And the index from the public directory. We still need the index page from the template open. We're going to go grab the services right now. This is the portfolio I'm scrolling past, and here is services. So I'm going to copy this, and then we're going to go to our new services component that we just created, and we're going to do all the basics to get it set up. And then the render method, we're not going to return anything right now because what we're going to need to do, well, first let's export default services. And then I guess let's paste all that code in there. Whoops. In the return statement. And then what we're going to do is conditionally return these. So if we were to look at each one of these services, there's no need to write these multiple times. We can see that we can just repeat it by looping over it. So let's go ahead and copy this, and then we're going to delete every call MD4 from here, because that each is a service tile or section, I guess. And under Common, we're going to create a new file called singleservice.js. And in here, we're going to import React and component from React. You can, in Visual Studio Code, create snippets so that you can create a React component a lot quicker than this. I think repetition is the best teacher, so let's not do that just yet. I'll show you guys how to later on. So class single service extends component, and again for class names we always use camel case, so capitals at the beginning of each word. I'm going to say export default single service, and then in here we're going to have a render method, and we're going to return the single service, just like this. I need to re-indent this stuff. Sometimes when copying and pasting, I'm not sure if it's into Visual Studio Code or just in general, sometimes the indentation gets a little mixed up. Alright, so let's go ahead and start importing the props. So this will be title, so this props title, and then description. And then also you'll see here that there's different icons for each service. There's a shopping cart, a laptop, and a lock. So what we'll have to do is also pass in an icon property. So knowing that that's what we're going to do, we need to now convert this string to a type of string that can print out variables within it, or use variables within it. And how we're going to do that, again, we've done this before. We're going to need curly braces around this. And then we're going to erase the double quotes and replace them with a backtick. Now in here, we're just going to replace this icon itself. So use a $sign and then curly braces. And we're going to say this dot props dot icon. And we're going to save. Simple. So now to use this within the services component itself, we're going to need a variable. And I'm going to declare it outside of the class as a const. Services equals and then an array. And the array is going to be made up of objects very similar to in the calculator project that we wrote. It's going to have a title, and this one that we just copied was e-commerce. It's going to have a description. We'll leave that blank for now, and we will come back and copy some placeholder text. And then icon, and I don't remember the icon. I think it was fa-shopping-cart. So I'm just going to type that and let's see if that works. And then in here, this is where we're actually going to map it. This is where the columns were before we removed them. So we need to import single service. So import single service from current directory, single service. And then down here, what we're going to do is open up curly braces because we're going to be writing some JavaScript here. Right now, it's going to be a map statement. So all we need to do is say services.map and the callback for the map function. So we're going to capture both the index and the service itself. So I'm going to put quotations. And let me show you this actually. If we didn't want to capture the index, we don't have to put brackets there. We can just do this because it's getting one value from the map function. But we're also going to capture the index. And the reason is with React, when you're mapping through objects, you need to add a unique key property to each thing that's returned from the map statement. So we are going to return single service. And what we can do this a couple ways. The first way would be to declare each property itself. So we need title, description, and icon. So we could say title equals service.title. We could do that, and then the description and icon in just the same way, and then we would close that. Or what we can do is pass in all properties kind of like a flattened object. So if we do this, open up curly braces and ... services, or service, sorry, just a single service. This will now make it so the single service component has this props title, this props description, and this props icon. So it's passing in properties from an object, and it will just use the key-val combos from the object itself. And that's how we're going to do this. Now where we are mapping it, we also need to add a key property, and this needs to be unique. So the easiest way to make this unique within this scope, so within this, if I had a map statement down here and a map statement down here, and in each one of those there were overlapping keys, that is okay. Just inside this scope right here, inside this code block, the map statement itself, we need to have a unique key property set. And so we're going to set it to index. Now I'm going to save this. And now on the home page, we want services. So re-usable components. So import services from common services, and it's a directory up. So // this goes up a directory, and then it looks for the common directory. And under the header, we're actually going to embed this services component. Now when I come back over here, we see, okay, awesome. It's mapping out one of them. So what I need to do is copy the description. Well, actually, first what I'll do, in the services component, I'm going to copy this twice. So comma, copy, and comma, copy. And then we can look at what each service is. So responsive design and web security. So in here, responsive design, and then web security, and the icons for each one. Let's go get the class names. So FA laptop for responsive design, and then I'm pretty sure that's just FA lock. Yeah, FA-lock for web security. And now the description for each of these is the same, so I'm going to copy this text here, and I'm going to put it within the single quotes of each. Now if I save it, our component now should render all three services, and it does. So that is one of the components. Now the next one was portfolio, and we're going to be mapping through the portfolio items in a very similar way to services. So under common, let's go ahead and create a new file called portfolio.js. I'm going to import React and component from React, and then class portfolio extends component, and then export default portfolio. Now we're going to create our render method and return, and what we're going to return is this portfolio grid right here. So I'm going to just copy the whole thing. I noticed that we forgot something in services, and that was to replace the class with class names. Let's go ahead and do that. And within the single service as well. And let's go ahead and save. And now in portfolio, let's do the same thing and save. And now we're going to have images that we need to manage here. Why are these has no, oh, there's like, oh, the image, okay. Yeah, images are not being closed. Let's go ahead and remove each row. Oh wait, is that each a portfolio link? Let's so we get proper syntax highlighting. Let's close this first image, and then it's going to be this right here that we're going to want. So let's copy this, and this is going to be each portfolio item. and this is indented very badly. I'm going to replace alt with the correct closing tag for React, which needs that slash there, so that we can get proper highlighting, so that we can know we're removing just what we need to. So when you click on the element name, it's going to highlight the closing tag, and that's how you can be sure that you're removing just what you need to. Last one. There we go. Alright, so I'm going to save, and then in Common we're going to create a new file called portfolioitem.js.